Fuck it.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Hey mama, if you are a mom and are tired of the wash, rinse, repeat burnout cycle of motherhood, this podcast is for you. If you feel lonely and isolated in your motherhood journey, this podcast is for you. If you feel like you have completely lost your identity since your babies were born, this podcast is for you. If you feel like every other mom has it together except for you, this podcast is for you. My name is Amanda, and I'm a life coach dedicated to teaching every mom the tools she needs to liberate herself off the back burner. I am living proof that a woman can be present and loving to her kids while also being a whole-ass person outside of being that kid's mom. The secret? Learning when to say fuck it.
You know what I was doing? I was writing a note to stick it on the door. It says, be gentle. Well, the rest is in Dutch, but it says, be gentle with closing the door. I'm recording. Because my daughter, every time she just, I don't know, keep going out of the house like 100 times. And she just slapped the door every time.
Yeah.
I put one on the outside, and I hope she will be. So if you hear banging door, is my kid closing it.
I totally understand. The only reason why my side is quiet is because today's the 4th of July over here in the States. And so we're getting together with some friends at their house to go swimming. It's supposed to storm later today, which kind of sucks. But for right now, it's not storming. So we're going to be swimming. And I told her, well, I have this podcast recording and then we'll come over. And she said, oh, well, why don't you drop the girls over beforehand so that way you can record in peace? And I was like, thank you so much.
Wow, that's a good friend.
She's a great friend. I love her dearly. And I'm honored to have her by my side doing life together. And like friends like that are so important for women because motherhood in our modern culture, for some reason, has gotten very isolated. And we have this idea, this pervasive idea that we have to like do it ourselves. And if we can't, then there's a problem with us and we shouldn't be asking other people for help because we chose to have kids. So that's on us.
That's so true. Yes.
And it's just bullshit. It's just a lie. And to build your village intentionally with other people who are just like your soul sisters, please do it. Everybody do that.
It is difficult to find these soul sisters because each one of us is still stuck in, I can do it alone. I'm not going to ask for help. But would the other are doing it better. So of course I can do it also. This line of thinking. So you're very lucky, really. Say hi to her from me.
I will. Yes. And with that, we shall begin. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Fuck It Mothering. I'm your host, Amanda Haro, and I have another beautiful guest that I'm so excited to share with you guys, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Roula, and I'm calling in actually from the Netherlands, where mothering is exactly the same as anywhere else in the world. It has the same pain, the same joy, and then the same discoveries. I'm very glad to be here to talk about what motherhood did to me and how am I overcoming it.
Yes, I'm so excited to have this conversation. And I love that you pointed that out too, because it's like, no matter what walk of life you come from, mothers are all like intrinsically bound through just this shared experience of motherhood.
Correct. It's the same, really.
Yes.
I also come from the Middle East, so I can confirm and say it's also the same over there.
Yes, exactly. So tell us, what was your journey into motherhood?
I knew what motherhood is since I was 10 years old, because my sister had her first child, and I have a very vivid memory of how difficult it was for her and how boring it was for me, because she took me with her everywhere she went, to her summer house, to her days off, vacations, so I can babysit her daughter. Mm-hmm. And I used to feel so bored and look at her doing so many things for this child. I can see she doesn't have a life, absolutely no life. And I don't want to say it was a trauma or a bad experience. It's just at a very young age, I knew how tough it is to be a mom. And
Mm-hmm.
becoming a mother myself, alone, living in Europe, in the Netherlands, really didn't know what I was doing. Absolutely not. I have 3 kids, so I say with a third week start knowing what to do, because it's like learning on the job. And my first
Yeah.
child was my first job with no one around me from my family to support me directly. And of course, as you said, to your point, I chose to live away, to travel and live somewhere else far from them. I must not complain. I just have to suck it up and make it work.
Such a pervasive thought, isn't it?
Very strong. And
Yeah.
I took this thought and I tried to raise my first child. And now she's 21. She tells me things about how I was maybe tired or angry or not doing the things in the most compassionate and loving way. And I think to myself, wow, I wish I had the right podcast, like Fuck It Mothering, back then to listen to. So I really think I'm not alone in this shit. And whatever I'm doing,
Yeah.
it's okay. I'm learning. I don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
But I didn't have
Yes.
an example around me, so had to find it out myself. And it wasn't very much fun in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that I was just talking about on another episode that's being released tomorrow from when you and I are recording this. And there was 2 other women with me, and we were talking about how funny it is when we start talking to other moms, when we start talking to each other, we realize that we all have the same like thoughts that are going on in our heads, but we're too like scared and we feel too ashamed to admit it. We feel too ashamed to be like, my toddler is being an asshole. Like, or I really don't want to be with my kids right now. Like, I want to break from my kids. Like, we feel too ashamed to even voice that. And so in doing that, we're like isolating ourselves from finding each other, because someone has to be the trailblazer. Someone has to be like the brave one to voice it out loud. And then you come to find your community of other moms who are just like, oh my God, me too.
It's been very hard in the beginning to find my community, because the mothers around me, they were all Dutch. They are born here. They have their families. They have their friends. And I was learning the language, trying to adjust, making new friends if I could, from the playground mostly. And I looked at them and they seemed happy, fulfilled, and they're mothering their kids like this is the best dream, that like they never dreamt of anything better than this. While I was not only not comfortable in my body because my body changed, and not sleeping at night, and looking at my kids and thinking, how am I gonna like make it to dinner time? I'm already exhausted. I don't have a grown up to talk to, and the mothers around me, they look perfect. I felt very insecure in approaching them and talking to them. So I isolated myself, thinking they're doing it better.
Yes, exactly. And, the more modern equivalent of like that experience is the social media game, where we find other moms on Instagram and you're just seeing their highlight reel, and you're not seeing the behind the scenes struggle that all of us feel. None of us are exempt to this. And, you in real life, like at the playground, you were just seeing their highlight reel.
True.
Because all of us, again, are just so scared to actually voice like, this is really hard. I'm having a hard day. It took me 20 minutes to get us out of the house because my kid threw a fit in the entryway before we could even get to the park here. Yeah. Instead, we just plaster a smile on our face. Absolutely. And pretend like everything's okay.
Yes. It's tough. One day in the playground, I was sitting alone. It was bad weather, gray, almost going to rain, and hoping it won't because we're spending time outside, which was awesome. I lived in an apartment. It was small. We didn't have a garden. So the playground was the place to relax for me, and my kid is playing. So sitting there on my own, it's empty, hoping someone would come just for my daughter to play with someone and have fun. And then I saw this woman, mother, with her child. Her child is in the stroller. You know, Dutch ladies are very tall, and this one was like 2 meters. She's really tall, and I'm 157 centimeter. I don't know how to translate this to your metrics,
Yeah.
but I'm small. And I saw her walking, and she was walking in my direction. My heart started beating. It's like, what is she gonna ask me? I don't know. She's walking towards me, and she said, "Are you here alone? Because I'm also bored. Would you like us to sit together?" Wow, that was really made a difference, and she became a very good friend of mine. So during the childbirth of my second daughter, I gave birth at home. I called her, and she picked my daughter up, took her to her house. She spent the whole day over there while I'm having labor. And this was like a breakthrough in finding connection with another mother.
That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. And it just takes like a simple step, right? Just a simple, small step outside of your comfort zone of just walking up to each other and being like, I'd like some company. Would you like some company? Can I sit with you?
Yeah. While she was even more insecure and tired than I was.
Oh.
But something in how I was sitting there made her feel comfortable to ask me. And it, yes, made really a difference. It's beautiful. I have not done it, but she did. So she did it for both of us, actually.
Yes, but there's balance in everything, right? Like we can't all be the initiators because that would just, I don't know, that feels stressful.
Yes, I mean, it has to come up. It has to cross our mind because we're so busy thinking of everything that is negative or that's not good, or if I talk to them, maybe I'll feel rejected, or they're not looking for another mother to talk to. They're sitting there with the three of them, for example. Why would they?
Right.
And it's real. It's true. I mean, it's very, you expose yourself. You go and stand there to talk to strangers, basically. And yeah, what's going to be the conversation? It's good to prepare ourselves to this scenario and dream about it, like practice. So if I'm feeling lonely and I found another mom that she looked nice and I feel I can talk to her, how would I approach? How would I talk to her? Of course, now I'm saying this is 2024 and my kids are in their 20s. I've learned so much and I have less fear from approaching other mothers, and be just authentic and say, fuck it, today I feel like shit and I just want to sit down, have a glass of whiskey and not worry about who's sleeping in the other bedroom.
Yes.
That the next day I have to wake up at 5, so I'd better not drink because I won't get out of bed. And so, yeah, these moments are also very recognizable.
Yes, that's so relatable. So how is your transition going from one kid to two kids? Did you find that, because everyone kind of has a different take on it. For me, going from 1 to 2 was so much harder than going from 2 to 3 and then eventually 3 to 4. Because like once I learned how to divide myself into 2, you know, for the 2 kids and like open up my, like, it wasn't so much dividing my heart. It was like my heart like expanded for more love for the second child and the third child and the fourth. But like once I learned how to go from 1 to 2, I don't know, there was just like a switch in my brain that was just like, what's another kid? What's another kid?
I hear you. I'm not going to share this episode with my daughters because what I'm going to say now, maybe it will hurt their feelings. They are still sensitive about my opinion on motherhood. Because I tell them, you know what, go and have fun, enjoy, do all the things you want to do before you think of having kids.
Yeah.
It looks like this generation, especially in Europe, they've been 6 years doing research. They're very conservative. So the girls, they really want to have children in their early 20s.
Interesting.
Very interesting, yes.
Yeah.
This is another topic. To come back to your question. Okay. having my second child felt like it's the right, just like the first child. When I had my first child, I wasn't even ready to have children. It's just, I'm married for 2 years. Everyone is expecting that a baby would come along. And
You were doing what you were supposed to do.
yes, I didn't learn.
Which is we all fall into that at some point in our lives. It's just a matter of like, if we're able to get out of it.
Exactly. Like our marriage will only be complete if we have this child. And actually, the marriage is complete when we are ready, when we had really fun as a couple and lived our life anyway. So that was my first child. And I struggled a lot with her. And 1 year time after that, my husband said, you know what, it's now that I'm not working, it's good time to have a second one. So they grow together. And then when they're both at school, we can have our life back quickly. It did make sense to me. But my body and my brain were telling me, your life is over. And you're going to have a second child. And you only have one life, but it's going to be over twice. This is what was going on in my mind.
Yeah. And I appreciate your frankness. I appreciate like you saying that, because you are not the only person to have that thought.
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard this from my friends or anyone else. And when I say it, I feel probably they're shocked from my opinion, or they're reflecting on their own thoughts. I don't know.
My grandpa told me that when I was pregnant with my first one. He was laughing and made it like a joke. He's just like, well, there goes your career.
Absolutely.
he just laughed and walked away. And I was like, thanks, Grandpa.
I respect this man. He knows what he's saying.
My Nana was so mad at him. She just started, because they're Mexican, so they instantly went from English to Spanish, because I don't speak Spanish, and she was...
You felt it on their body language, probably, that she's telling him.
Oh, I always know when she switches to Spanish, it's because she does not want me to hear it.
Cute, really nice that you have this beautiful memory.
But, like, he wasn't wrong. It becomes a lot harder to it becomes a lot harder to do the things that you want to do when you have children in tow. And I have done a very good job of, was that a door?
One of the doors.
I've done a very good job. And I think it's kind of like my journey in life and my story to share to help inspire other women. But I've done a really good job of like, these kids are coming along for the ride. I did have a season where I was like, I got lost in motherhood. But then I reclaimed my life and I was like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. This is still my life. I'm still the leading lady of my own life. The kids are just coming along for the ride.
Yes, it takes time to allow ourselves to think this way. So when I got pregnant with my second daughter, I was busy. I don't remember anything from her childhood. Only when I look at pictures. Okay. I don't remember. I only know my body accepted the second pregnancy and the second labor and breastfeeding because it recognized it after such a short time. So these were easy. And she was born in our bathtub, in the water. Great experience. I remember that. And then my memory shuts down from how I raised her until the age of 4.
Interesting.
Yes, it was.
You were in survival mode.
I was in survival mode, and I remember few things. That one evening I was sobbing. The expression is very Arabic. Like I was crying. I'm killing myself from tears and crying. Oh. Saying to my husband, my ex, telling him, I can't do this anymore. I cannot wake up, take care of the children, cook, clean, sleep, wake up. I cannot do this. I'm not made for this. I need something more in my life. I want something. I want to go and have fun. And when I say I want to go and have fun is be with him, do novelty things, go out with my friends. But I didn't have friends even at that time because they all did not have children. So they're living their life. and I have
Yeah.
two small kids. This is a very also vivid memory because after I said all of this, I felt, of course, shame and regret. It's like what you said. I chose to have children, so I have to suck it up and accept all of this. I did not really allow myself to love myself. And I'm a person. I'm not only a mother.
Yes.
But I took this motherhood thing, I took it so seriously that it suffocated me.
Well, we're socialized to do that. Women are socialized to, I mean, if you take it back even just a couple generations, your grandmother, her purpose in life was to get married and have kids. That's it. Like, that's all women had from the beginning of time until very, very recently. All of that socialization doesn't just die and go away just because, you know, we are evolving socially and are like, okay, well, no, I guess women can have, you know, a choice in their life. I guess they can go back to work. I guess they can do both if they want. Just because we're saying that out loud doesn't mean that our brains haven't still evolved for all of time to believe that women are just here to procreate and take care of the children.
True. Our brain is, well, it's doing what it's supposed to do. You know, we're supposed to bear children and bring these humans to life. And I didn't start yet about okay, this is horrible. I didn't start yet about how painful breastfeeding was. And
oh my goodness. Yeah. It's hard for so many women.
Yeah. I went to the special, I don't know what the word in English, lactacy. It's like
lactation consultant. Yes.
And I did a course, prepared myself for breastfeeding with my first child. 6 months of suffering until it's gotten better. But in all these workshops, no one ever said, sometimes it will hurt and your breast will be so sore, so painful that you will scream. And this is not normal, but it happens. They talk about it as it's the best thing to give our kids, and I believe so. And I did it despite all the pain. Yeah. But I didn't do it with my third child. I told you I'm going to swear on your podcast because I like it. And I don't do it on my podcast. I said, fuck it. I want to sleep at night. I want my husband to give him the bottle. And I just want no one touching my boobs.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah. And you get to make that choice.
Yes. I think I was also in a relationship that supported me to make this decision.
That is a key factor. You have to feel like you are supported by your partner to make these choices. But yeah, not enough people. And I feel like this conversation is getting better. Like the topic of breastfeeding not being like this wonderful experience that just comes naturally to you. Like we're doing a better job very recently, like in my generation's timeline of motherhood. Like we're the ones being like, wait, this sucks. This is not easy. Is anybody else struggling or is it just me?
True. When it works, it's beautiful. And I'm glad I did it for both of my daughters, despite all the pain. Mm-hmm. But yes, it doesn't come easy to everyone. It's painful. And really, as a new mom, your life already changed. And with breastfeeding, that's it. You disappeared. You are melting because some women also, I know from myself, I couldn't extract milk to put it in a bottle for someone else to give the bottle to my daughter. So I had to physically
be present
all the time.
Right. Yes. I couldn't either. Pumping just never worked for me. It was always a very stressful experience. I stayed at home with my kids when they were young. And so I was with them all the time. So the only time to like fit in the extra thing to try to pump was if I woke up before the morning feed. I was exhausted and it wasn't working. I would pump for like an hour and get 2 ounces. I was just crying all the time. And it got to the point where I was like, why am I doing this to myself if I'm home with her all the time anyways? Fuck this. She's just going to be with me. Like, that's just it. I'm just committing to my life for this year, this first year of just like, I only get to have short spurts without the baby, but most of the time the baby is just with me because I can't do this pumping thing. It just, my body, I don't know why, like I didn't struggle feeding the babies. They could always get more than enough milk out for whatever reason, just when I was trying to pump.
This machine, the sound.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I know from myself is that I didn't have the boobs that fit in anything. And it was very painful. I remember when I said to the doctor that I don't want to, after 14 days of pain and suffering with my third child, who I had him 11 years after my daughter's. So my body was starting all over again. It does not recognize any pregnancy anymore. I had to go through it all over again. And I said to the doctor, and I showed him how much I'm sore and painful. She said to me, you know what? This is an illusion that the milk you can give to your kids is not as good as mother's milk. Because this first days are important. But after that, it's okay if you give your child just formula milk. You're not feeding them poison. And I was told, like, it protects the breast milk, protect them from asthma, from allergy, from kind of illnesses. Well, my daughter, I breastfed her for 11 months and she has allergy. And please, I don't want to listeners to think I'm against breastfeeding. I loved it.
No, not at all.
But there are some things.
No, we are all for choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just for choices. Like, it's okay if it doesn't work out for you. You're not, like you said, you're not poisoning your baby by giving them formula.
I don't know. Maybe totally Elon Musk had formula. Who knows? I don't know. Who said that only best people on earth had mother's milk?
Yeah. And it's formula is such a blessing, because before formula, when women, because there were still women back then who couldn't breastfeed, they had to go find a wet nurse to feed their baby so the baby didn't die. Because this has been an issue forever. Not all of our bodies work exactly the same. Like, we're not robots. We're not machines. We have like the ideal version, but we're just not, we don't always all operate exactly perfectly, and that's okay. So formula is such a blessing.
Super easy to make. Anyone can make it.
Yeah. And, to your point earlier, it gave your partner a chance to help you with those nighttime feeds and just the feeds during the day and stuff, because it's not 100% on you to produce the food for the baby.
It was, what changed is that the night feed was 100% on him. It was awesome.
I love that.
That's why I was still married. He was willing to do this for me. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's so beautiful, because your body had just gone through so much and was continuing to go through so much. I mean, most recent research is suggesting that it can take up to 2 years for our hormones to balance out and level out after having a baby. Our bodies go through a tremendous amount to produce this life. The least the men can do is take care of the nighttime feeds.
Yes.
How many sleepless nights did you have at the end of the pregnancy, or even in the beginning of the pregnancy? Pregnancy is not comfortable. And at the end, when you're like really large and the baby is super large and moving around and it hurts and it's waking you up, and, you have limbs going numb.
I mean, we don't have to justify why they have to feed at night. We don't. Look, of course, it depends what kind of work they do and who is waking up early. It has to accommodate the lifestyle of the parents. And there are a lot of fathers, they want to do it.
Yeah.
Only this conversation is not openly because we mom think it's on us.
Exactly.
But daddies, they love to do it. I mean, it's their kid. They love them as much as we do. It's good.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It's very good. So what was your experience going through your divorce and going through co-parenting? How old were your daughters when you divorced?
Very good question. I haven't spoken about this pretty much. My daughters were, let me remember, I think they were 5 and 7.
Okay.
They haven't seen it coming. I still see them in front of me sitting at the couch and their dad and I telling them, Papa and Mama are divorcing. They didn't know what it means. So we had to explain to them what it means. And the next day I packed and left to another, I rented a place. It went very fast. It was for my kids, it was a shock. And for me, I was out of my marriage already few years ago. And the co-parenting was, in the beginning, we agreed, okay, because there was so much hurt, but we weren't hating each other. We knew, okay, this is not working. It's not what I want. And he's not going to argue with it. And we have to see how to do it best for the kids. So we decided on what works for us, which was half the week, the days are with him, the same week, half the days with me, because we lived very close to each other. This is possible. And I had to start to learn to live alone with the kids, because I moved from Lebanon to the Netherlands and immediately lived with my husband. So from living with my parents to living with my husband, and then
you had never been on your own yet.
On my own. Then suddenly I was like, I had a good job, I'm well paid, so I can live a good life. So I rented an apartment and furnished it and took the kids with me over there. It was still in the same neighborhood where their dad is living.
Yeah.
And I was in my 30s and thinking, wow, everyone should do this. This is amazing. Like, few days they are with their dad and I'm just being myself and living the life I want to do, my hobbies, my whatever I want to do. And then they come to me and have the full energy for them. I'm 100% for them. And it's like, gosh, like, why people make a problem out of it?
Right.
That was my thinking. I don't know what my kids were thinking, because, well, they were, for them, luckily for my ex and I, we had good communication, loving communication, and we did not let the kids feel that we are arguing or they are in the middle of a battle. They even were wondering, why aren't we together if things are so good?
Wow. That's amazing that you and your ex were able to do that.
But the bad thing was from the outside world. So when my kids go and play in another house, the parents want to know, how come their parents are different? And don't you find it difficult to live in a different house? And don't you find it difficult that you go to sleep and your mom is not bringing you to bed? And so
that is so wildly inappropriate for them to ask the children that.
My kids come home and start acting like they are unhappy kids from an unhappy divorced parents. And I had to try to dig into it to understand what's going on.
Right.
And this is how the conversation with my kids started. And I began to understand that people outside are just not accepting that we are friendly divorced and we still can raise the kids without killing each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
People didn't want to accept this. But this whole situation...
Oh, why not? I can't stand it when they stick their noses where it doesn't belong.
A lot of mothers... this is hilarious. A lot of mothers, like, they were so proud and happy for me. Like, they tell me, and it's a very Dutch expression, that I chose for myself.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand in the beginning because I had so much guilt. I mean, I'm telling you this story because it's been so much time that has passed.
Right.
But I was in so much guilt because of the divorce and trying to work it out with myself, with finding, yes, this was really the right thing to do. And there is a life after a divorce. I'm not ruining my kids. I'm not ruining. And I felt guilt towards my ex because I told him I'm leaving. So I
Yeah.
felt I destroyed him. There was a lot on my shoulders in terms of bad feelings. And then the mothers
Yeah.
outside tell me that they're so proud of me and I chose for myself. And yeah, it was too much for me to take because why are they saying this? What is extraordinary about it? I mean, why can't they choose for themselves? So why am I the hero? And they're not choosing for themselves. Because there is a
Right.
thin line between telling me they're proud of me that I chose for myself and between saying, oh gosh, we would never do this to our kids.
Yes. Yes, there is a very thin line.
And I heard both of them.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, the latter comment of I could never do this to my kids is their justification for not choosing themselves. That's how they are managing to stay in an unhappy marriage and live with themselves, even though they know that's not what they want to do.
True. It could be true. It could be true. On the other hand, look, if I worked on myself the way I did in the past years and in my actual marriage, probably the relationship would have continued. But I did not have the right mindset, the right surrounding, the right books to read. Because I remember I told you I read so many books that were not good for me. And really, it's not because we are podcasters, I'm saying this. In the world of podcasting, there is so much information in there, accessible for every person without having to pay to go to counseling or life coaching or psychologist. There are so many life-changing podcasts, and it is good to work on ourselves. And the moment I started working on myself, I knew that if I'm going to decide to get a divorce a second time, is because I have another goal in my mind and not because my relationship is not working. And that maybe make you think, what the hell, what goal do you have on your mind?
Well, but like when I decided to leave my, at the time, husband, I did it for, I made sure I was doing it for myself. And I now refer to it as completing my marriage because I choose to look at it as like my marriage didn't fail. I didn't fail. It wasn't a failure. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. I just going into it overestimated how much time of my life like that chapter was going to be. I thought it was going to be forever. I just overestimated the time. How very human of me. It's okay. It's okay that it was just a 9-year chapter.
Yeah.
It was always supposed to be a 9-year chapter. And now I'm just moving into a different chapter.
We change. We are in our 20s and the 30s, 40s. We're not the same. And the difference is that as women, we keep reinventing ourselves. Men like security, and they might reinvent themselves in their career, in their hobbies, in their life, but they feel happy and safe and secure in their marriages. I feel that women, we try to grow ourselves so hard to match all these expectations that we end up in a place where we want different things.
Yeah.
And this not necessarily the divorce. For some, it is.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And if it is a divorce, it's not a problem. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my family was not very happy. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I live so far from everybody. I can make my own decisions and I'm going to get a divorce and I'm going to just, raise my kids and do what's best for me. When I go to visit them back in Lebanon, if they ask, it's fine, but I don't live with them. They don't have to suffer my divorce.
Yeah, and you don't have them like coming to your house unexpected to berate you with their opinion.
Yeah, check if I'm alone or have someone or,
Right. Yes. Yeah, that is the nice side of living far away from your family.
Oh my goodness, look what we're getting into now. Well, I'm moving back to live close to my husband's family.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny because people say, oh, why do you want to live next to other family? Ironically, it's going to give me freedom because my son, his sisters are very old, so older than him. And his cousins are almost his age. So he will have kind of siblings to spend time with.
Yes.
And I will have freedom to spend the time on doing the other things I want to do, which works best.
Yeah, exactly. I am curious. So since you, with your first two, it was more like just doing what you thought you should do. And then you got divorced and you were co-parenting. And so you had some more freedom, just time freedom to focus on yourself, pursue your passions and have something outside of just being a mom. When you remarried, what convinced you, I suppose, to have another child and go down that path again?
Excellent question. Because when people hear me saying, they say, so why did you have a third one? That's a very valid question. With the life experience that I built, I enjoyed having my third child. Because
so this was the one you were able to choose on purpose and enjoy.
And
that's so beautiful.
My partner said to me, you don't have to worry. Because I told him, I find it so hard to spend time with toddlers and babies again. I cannot do it. I don't know how am I going to do it. In the beginning, I had all these fears. And then I don't know what happened. I was like, you know what? I even might enjoy it now because I have my older daughters to join me on this journey. I'm not alone. And we really did it together. My daughters, my husband. The best time of my life is when I got pregnant with my son and after he was born. The whole house was like a big, joyful red heart because everyone was involved and they're helping me. So much love, so much attention for the baby. And my husband he said to me to do whatever I feel comfortable to do. There is no judgment. And definitely there is nothing that I must do because someone else is telling me. He empowered me.
Actually getting teary-eyed hearing that. That's such a beautiful healing experience.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And I don't speak about it a lot. Oh my God. I see my son jumping in front of me to say goodnight. Yeah, it's 9:15 here in the evening. So yes, I don't talk a lot about it because I still feel that I don't want to hurt my daughter's feelings when I speak so happily about my third pregnancy and third experience.
Right.
Even though I tell them that they played a big part of making it so joyful and happy, it's painful. Maybe it's more painful to me. I don't know. I still did not heal this part completely.
Yeah, well, it's a journey. It's a journey. And it's just because you are a really good mom. If you weren't a really good mom, then you wouldn't have those thoughts. You wouldn't have those worries.
Thank you. I appreciate it. When they turned teenagers, I felt like I'm a shitty mom, but that's normal.
Listen, teenagers are rough. I've heard. My oldest is 13. She'll be 14 at the end of the year. And so far, it's been she's lovely. But her immediate younger sister, she's 11, and she has enough teenage sass and bullshit for both of them already. So I'm like, oh my God, we're just beginning with you.
Yeah. I think at 16, we lose our children and they come back to us when they're 18, 19. Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose you kind of have to you have to release. You have to let them sort of experience themselves and experience life.
It's another path to learn, because
Hello.
Good night, Lievert.
Can I make myself a verenigd?
Yeah. He didn't have his dinner completely, so now he's telling me, can I make for myself a wrap? He knows I
Don't
can't.
you love that? Don't you love when they are ready to eat after they didn't eat all of their dinner at bedtime?
You know what I love more? When I say you're not getting anything else, and I do give like now. He's very strategic. He came to me knowing I don't want to be distracted.
Right, when you're busy. So you're just going to say yes just to go get away.
Yes. Oh, so fun. So much fun.
So much fun. How old is he?
He's 9.
He's 9. Okay, I have a 9-year-old too.
They're fun.
It'll be interesting for you because you had 2 girls and now you have the boy. So it's probably going to be a whole different teenage experience for you.
The difference will be is that I have learned how to cope with it. Because when my kids turned teenagers, I went to family therapy because we had, like, I don't know what happened to us. We just lost it.
Yeah.
But my daughter did not join the therapy at all. So I end up doing it with my ex, his wife, and my husband, the 4 of us. And then I had sessions alone and sessions alone with my ex, sessions alone with my husband. So for 2 years, my agenda was full with therapy appointments.
With therapy sessions.
Oh
my gosh.
But I learned a lot. It was a systemic therapy. So every time after the session, I have tools and tips to immediately apply them.
That's awesome.
And in my personal session, she helped me get loose of all this Middle Eastern motherly thinking that I should be a slave for my kids and I must give them everything, my blood, my tears. They have to take everything. I'm exaggerating, but it's really not exaggerating.
Right. I understand. It sounds very Mexican as well.
Oh, okay, good. So she taught me how to learn to be selfish, and it's okay because it's better for them. The other thing I learned, super useful, how to put firm boundaries while staying calm and collected.
Yes, that is such a crucial lesson for every mom to learn. Yeah.
And I practiced so much. I think I'm now with the queen in putting boundaries and staying calm to the point that my kids, they just don't understand what the fuck is going on. Like, why is she so calm and not getting angry? And like, okay, we're going to go away. That's fine. We're not going to seek any argument anymore. Confusing them.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Boundaries are life. They're life with just everybody, every person in your life have boundaries, but especially with your kids. And I feel like this is such a new idea because most of us subscribe to that Middle Eastern mom that you were personifying of no, my kids have to be my everything. They have to always come first and I have to give everything to make it. No, fuck that. Have boundaries with your kids, please. For your own sanity, have boundaries with your kids.
I think there's also another thing that plays a role, not only with our kids, but in everything we do. We are raised to be polite. So polite that we don't know anymore to put ourselves first. Don't make the other feel uncomfortable. Make sure that they don't feel hurt.
Even though you are then uncomfortable and hurt.
Yes. Don't say things that concern you, but they might feel annoyed or put them in an awkward place. And this grow with us in raising our kids. Because when they see them upset because we were right in saying something, we feel that we triggered them and no, it's not good. They always have to go smiling to bed.
Yeah.
This idea.
Yep. Oh gosh. So much toxic socialization that all women have to unlearn
Yes.
and heal from.
Reclaim our own opinion and not be scared to just say, I don't want this.
Yeah.
No. I'm teaching my
Yeah.
son to not be polite all the time.
Good.
Because, no, you don't have to be kind to these people. They're not kind to you because we are taught to be kind to those who are not kind to us. I don't ask him to argue or trigger any problem, but I just teach him it's okay not to accept it and just walk away if you can't resolve it.
Yes. Yes, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful lesson to learn at a young age. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your story. I know it's going to be exactly what some women need to hear. They need to hear another woman who admits, like, I wasn't happy when I first had my kids. I love my kids now. I'm grateful that I became a mother, but it was hard for me. Like, we need more people to honestly share their story just like you did. So thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to be here. I really hope that every mom will relate to what I'm saying and not be scared to keep loving her kids while loving herself too.
Yes. Yes. And where can people find you if they would like to connect?
I'm on LinkedIn. It's mostly where I'm active. Okay. Also on social media, Instagram, and my podcast, the Life Affairs podcast, where they can listen to everyday tips and life events that they can have advice and different insights. So they apply in their life immediately.
Beautiful. And I will link those in the show notes of this episode. And we're going to end on a round of lightning questions. So are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. What did you want to be when you grew up?
A groupie.
A groupie?
A rock star's groupie.
That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I love that answer. What is your favorite kid-free dinner? So if you get to pick what we're eating and no picky eaters get to voice their concerns or bitch, moan, and complain, what are we eating?
I would order sushi.
Sushi. Okay. Nice. Nice. What's your favorite book?
Oh, my favorite book. Well, ironically, it's a book about parenting.
Is it?
Yes, and it's Courageous Parents. I can't remember the rest of the title, but this book saved my life. And I can share the name with you if you want to put it in the show notes.
Yeah, please do. Please do. I love books.
How to anchor your authority, something like this. Excellent book.
Awesome. What is your guilty pleasure entertainment?
I cannot say this. It's private.
That is fine. Keep us in mystery.
Probably a guilty pleasure of other moms too, but no one talk about it.
And this next question I stole from the Low Life podcast because it's too good not to steal. If your belly button was an actual button, what would it do?
If my belly button was a real button,
what would it do?
Yeah, I have to say it's also classified.
Yes, someone else that I interviewed, she was just like, orgasm. That's where my brain is going. And then she added onto it. She's like, orgasm and then fries. I want to have an orgasm and then I want French fries to magically appear.
Let me quickly shoot something here in between. I am 50 and my kids are teenagers, like young adults. I have now plenty of time to enjoy orgasm, masturbation, and watch porn.
Yes.
So here you go. You got them.
Yes, as you should, as we all should. Make time for good orgasms, please. And finally, what's one thing in motherhood you'd like to say fuck it to?
The guilt feeling.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Mom guilt's a big one. Yes. Well, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Amanda.
Are you living your one wild life to the fullest? You're not? Why the fuck not? What are you waiting for? The time to live is now, mama. Do not wait until your youngest is in college. Let your dreams hire me for an hour so I can explain how I can help you achieve any goal in your life. You've put yourself off long enough. It's time to pour into you. The link to schedule your 60-minute complimentary consultation is in my show notes. Join the community of Fuck It Moms by following me on Instagram and Facebook at Fuck It Mothering. That's fuck without the U. So FCK It Mothering. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you never miss your weekly encouragement. And please rate, review, comment, and share. All of these things help with the algorithms, so that way when other overwhelmed moms are looking for encouragement, they can find me. Every month, I give away one of my favorite books and a Starbucks card to a lucky winner. All you have to do to enter is write a review or tag me in social media when you share an episode. See you next Sunday, gorgeous.